the continuing daring and dangling adventures of Cliffhanger!
Electric opening!
Oh, water!
Dragon Tales, it's almost time for Dragon Tales.
Kids media used to feel like more than just something to keep children busy. The best shows gave kids imagination, humor, lessons, and characters they could actually grow with. But over the past decade, a lot of children's entertainment has started to feel less meaningful and more like colorful noise on a screen. In this video, I want to talk about why kids media has fallen short, and how we can get back towards stories that actually matter and help shape the next generation for the better. Now you're probably wondering, Ryan, why are you in a suit? Why are you doing this? Like, what's going on here? Well, I want to let you guys know I'm taking this serious. I believe that kids media is definitely integral to a child's development. Growing up myself, I was always a fan of shows that were colorful, shows that had awesome images on it, and shows that could teach me something. And that's the first thing that I want to get into, is the message. When you put on a show or a movie, what message are you trying to show your kids? Is it to help others? Is it to be secure in your own body? To make friends wherever you go? Or overcoming obstacles that may be in your path? There are tons of lessons to learn as a kid, especially when they are still learning how to be their very own person. And as a parent, there may be times when you can't teach that yourself, but may rely on entertainment to keep your kids busy while also understanding the lessons of real life. It's not easy, and no one should be expected to remember every life lesson that they have encountered in the world.
In the digital age that we live in right now, it's very important to monitor the type of content that your child is consuming. Children up to the age of 6 and maybe even 8 years old are still developing their mind. And we actually don't even reach full development until we're 25. So just think about how susceptible a child's brain is at such a young age. That's why as parents, you are told to set a good example to your kids, because what they see is how they're gonna act and what they're gonna do too. If they see daddy yelling at mommy, they're gonna start to learn that that's okay. Or when it comes to content and movies or TV shows, what they're gonna see is what they're gonna replicate. That's just how a child's mind works. So when it comes to children's media and parents giving their kids access to content, is so important to monitor.
I believe the saying, "It takes a village to raise a child," also applies to those creating TV shows and movies. Anything straying away from important life lessons is doing a disservice to their audience and themselves. Allowing a show or film to take risks by including various life lessons can enhance viewership and feedback. No one wants to watch slop. Get it out of here. We don't need it. So why waste more than 15 minutes of runtime that won't be beneficial to your audience? I can't see the sense in that. So what kind of messages should we be teaching our kids? All of this is subjective, but I believe one message that we can teach is identity. What happens when a kid encounters bullies? You teach them that no matter what, they are created to be a unique person. The moment they start artificially changing themselves is the moment that they lose themselves. Another lesson I believe is important is kindness. No child should grow up experiencing pain daily, but it happens in the world that we live in. Why not show children that projecting that pain onto others can become a toxic trait should they continue that behavior? It is better to be kind and experience the fruit of that kindness than reap the consequences of your hate and anger toward others. One message that I will always remember is a message on identity from a kid's show back in the early 2000s. You may know this show if you grew up in that age, but the show is called Teen Titans. It was a spectacular show with action, depth, and amazing animation. And we got to see crazy development from kids who were just a little bit older than the audience that watched them. I remember an episode where Cyborg dislikes his own mechanics and going through the process of understanding that he can't change that, but he's also useful. He has gifts that can be used for others. The episode follows Cyborg as he journeys through obstacles needing his technology from his body, thus reinforcing how important his identity as a half-man, half-machine is to his team. It's messages like this that help kids understand that they may not have control of their bodies, but what gifts they have, they can use to help other people. Messages are important in any type of media.
Personally, I grew up on PBS Kids and other learning content, so I am a bit biased about it. Some of my favorite shows as a kid were Cyberspace or Wild Kratts, Martha Speaks, Word Girl, Word World. Just to name a few, like these are all shows, they're animated superheroes or characters or animals where they are going on these adventures, but they are using their knowledge to advance the story. Whether it's, hey, we need to do this skate park, but we got to figure out the dimensions of the skate park in order to do all this. Or, hey, we want to find out how much water is in this pond, so let's take the diameter of the pond and multiply it by like the radius and like all this like stuff that as a kid is just meant to help you learn, but it's in a fun way. It's not like, it doesn't feel like you're being taught anything because it's entertaining. And that's why growing up I loved these shows so much, not just because that's what my parents told me I had to watch, but also because it was entertaining and I got to learn stuff. Wild Kratts is still one of my favorite shows to this day. I haven't seen an episode in a while, but I just love that show because I love animals. And that show teaches you so many facts about animals that are just fun to throw out in any social gathering.
Let's look at the movie Kung Fu Panda. The story is about a chosen warrior who can do really awesome stuff and fight bad guys. The master who has been training the warriors already thinks that it could be any one of them. However, an unlikely hero in the form of a panda is chosen to be this dragon warrior. No one respects him and underestimates him the whole movie, until the end. Po shows his tenacity in becoming a dragon warrior and puts in the effort to train and prepare for the final battle. The best part of the message in this movie is that the secret scroll ends up being a mirror reflecting back the image of Po, who realizes he is special because he is himself. Nothing will ever change that. Let's jump over to another kids movie that was released almost 100 years ago. Pinocchio. Starting out as a wooden boy come to life, Pinocchio takes off and explores the small world around him and finds many good things, but also many bad things. People are willing to take advantage of him, and running off with a stranger to have fun is not ideal for any kid who knows what's good for them. Having a pure heart and intentions is what constitutes Pinocchio turning into a real boy. And that message can be passed along to other children watching the movie who may need to hear that part of their identity is tied with integrity, kindness, goodness, etc. Kids need these types of messages to help them grow up and understand the type of world that they live in. They'll never be perfect, but having movies and TV shows to let them know that they can make mistakes and come back from them will prepare them for a life that is ahead.
When a child's mind is still developing, it is very important to make sure that it's developing in a way that is growing them and not just in a way that's going to entertain them.
One thing that I haven't enjoyed while browsing through various kids shows is the pandering to multiple audiences. Teaching children that they should respect other people's boundaries is one thing. However, I will say that changing your life to fit how someone else wants you to does not make for a good lesson. Being kind and good is the biggest lesson in my book, but when my kids are being taught a laundry list of things to do around someone, I start to ask, when do the contradictions start? If I do one thing for someone, I may upset someone else. Being kind and good in my book covers everything. There's my short rant on the matter. Messages are supposed to teach the best things to our kids. If we fall short in that category, then they're just watching TV to veg out and escape. I think there's a healthy way to all of that. The only caveat is the right message being portrayed during that escapism. It doesn't need to happen every episode of show, depending on the context, but it must be prevalent to the audience viewing that show. Cyborg's Identity episode was geared towards kids who might be going through stages in their life where they might not be as confident with who they are. That episode changed a lot of lives, and I'm sure other episodes from different shows, including messages like that, have changed others' lives as well. Let's look at slowing down. The average attention span for a child is 2 minutes per their age. If you have a 6-year-old, their attention span is between 12 to 14 minutes. Not every child is the same. Some children can have shorter attention spans or longer ones. I don't necessarily blame this on TV and movies, but I do blame this on our reliance of technology. I was born in the mid-90s and grew up in the early 2000s. iPads weren't a thing until the early 2010s, and I was already in high school by that time. I never became an iPad kid and didn't have a smartphone until I was in my teens. YouTube was blowing up around then too, and content creators were creating stuff that was attractive to kids, and it trained them to like the shorter videos and shorter cuts. Movies and TV shows got a hold of this formula and started working on it for their own media. The average shot length now in a TV show is about 3 to 8 seconds, compared to a show in the 80s which was about 5 to 10 seconds. Now it doesn't seem like a lot, but think about it a bit more. Think about the focus it requires to study for a test, or read a book, or complete a puzzle. While those are things to do, it requires a longer span of attention, which might be hindered by shorter cuts from TV or movies. Shorter cuts mean shorter time to focus on a shot. Who cares what is happening in the whole shot when something else comes almost immediately after? There are storytelling elements for shots, and when you continue to practice shorter cuts, you lose out on what a good shot can accomplish to tell a story. As an example, think of any Marvel movie. Even though these movies are geared toward older kids, younger kids still attend the theater or even at home with adult supervision. Check this clip out from Captain America: Civil War. This action sequence isn't long. However, the shaky cam and million cuts to hide any faults in the choreography distract from any focus to be had in this scene. Let's look at another example from Paw Patrol, a beloved show by many kids around the world. This is an example of fast cuts to keep attention and engagement during an episode. Now, I don't know what a normal parent's home life looks like, but how often are parents sitting in while watching their kids' shows? Do they turn on a show or a movie as they work or make food or do things around the house? I guess that these shows and movies are made in this form to keep the attention of children, so parents can do the things they need to do with light supervision and less worry about what their kids are consuming. Why would I need to watch a colorful show that includes toddlers and kids when I know that my kid is preoccupied and I can be as productive as I need to be for the day? It's less hassle and pretty effective, and I respect that. All that being said, I believe there also needs to be a slowing down of pacing during shows and movies. Every second, it seems like something needs to fill the gaps of space within TV shows or movies, whether that be singing, screaming, action, you name it. A good example of this is an episode of Cocomelon where Cece gets her hair cut. As we watch this episode, it's only 7 minutes, a very short episode. But every second there is something happening, whether someone is walking or singing, cutting hair, whatever that may be. When you watch this episode, notice how much goes on within the frame of each cut. Again, I respect the hustle and what they've done with their format. I do think there could be better alternatives that offer the same bright colors and messages, but keep their pacing a lot slower. A few shows that come to mind are Little Bear, Bear in the Big Blue House, Between the Lions, and Clifford the Big Red Dog. Let's look at slow pacing for a second. What does it look like? We watched a little bit of Cocomelon. How about a clip of Little Bear? This scene shows how important slowing down in certain situations can be. If you make a mess while baking, it's all good. You can continue working and clean it up later. The dialogue during the scene is also slowed down. It shows that thinking through your options and choosing the best one is the way to go when faced with multiple choices. This scene is one of so many from older kids shows, creating a home environment centered around critical thinking, good behavior, seeking knowledge, and many more life skills to acquire before adolescence. Longer and slower episodes help children stay in the present during each runtime, and they're not looking at what's next to stream. We looked at a few cons, now let's look at some things that kids shows have got right. We know that bright colors are the best option for getting kids' attention on screen. The invention of color TV built a foundation for what is being made now. Cartoons and animated films have become brighter and clearer for kids to enjoy. Even looking at the old Disney films, color fills the screen in each animated scene. Giving kids the fun and enjoyment of color is always the best service that the entertainment industry has provided. I also believe characters have been a great way to bring kids around a screen. Making them relatable, fun, and memorable will help your show get watched by a large audience. Modern characters like Bluey, Carl the Collector, or Miss Rachel evoke emotions in kids that keep them coming back and wanting more from what the show has to offer. Writers for these kinds of characters know what kids want and deliver top-notch character development for kids to hold on to.
I have to agree with Brian on this. What I would love to see more in children's content, and what I think that Bluey has been doing a good job with in the few episodes that I have seen, is slower pacing, good colors, that way it's still entertaining, good story, but also teaching kids something, whether it's something to do with words, math, history, animals, or it's actually something that's more for their character and their identity, whether it's how they treat people, how they talk to people, how you handle a situation that's difficult or makes you angry, because it's okay to have emotions. It's okay to feel sad or anger, but how do you deal with that? How are you going to react when somebody makes you feel a certain type of way?
So, how do we make better content for kids to consume? I will say that almost every modern day children's show I have seen has the color down. Color attracts attention, and these shows and movies have been consistent in that department. Animals, talking inanimate objects, creatures from beyond have been known and shown to be a great alternative to just normal human beings. So let's continue that trend. Making the characters memorable enough to get fans excited is a great attribute to have. Not just marketable, but something that kids will gravitate to and want more of. Then the suits can market it and sell it. Messages are everything. I believe we can still share the same messages in different ways so long as we write them the right way. No need to confuse anyone with a million lessons. Grab the important ones that reach the broader goal, such as being kind, identity, etc. We need to raise up our kids to be better than us. That means paying attention to what they are consuming outside of the household. What are they encountering in the world that may affect them later in life? How can the entertainment industry be more responsible in raising children of the modern day? We shouldn't settle for mediocre or anything close to it. I, for one, will not let my children watch slop that won't have a positive effect on their lives. Let us know what you think. Have you seen kids' media degrade over the years? What are you letting your kids watch? What suggestions do you have for others stepping into new parenthood? What do you want to see more of? We'll catch you guys on the next one.